it's an advantage for your team. You free up coaches, and it's pretty simple for your kids. So I mean, those are all big boxes to check when you get to a Friday. Having coaches be able to coach and players be able to play and play fast. That's always going to lead to success. Aundra Long. I'm a coach here at Iowa Colony High School. I've been here since we opened in 2022, so this is year 4 for us, and we just started using GoRout this year. For sure, yeah, no, it's freeing up. We're getting an extra coach, on the sideline. It's one less guy, really 2, because you can't just have one signaler. You have to have 2. You have to have a dummy signaler at least. So, we're getting coaches back that can just focus on coaching the game, which is what they're here for. And the kids love it, especially like the receiver on the far side of the field. All he's got to do is look down instead of trying to look around people and, navigate through all that just to see where to get lined up at. The players definitely like how fast it is. It's pretty quick, and they can get what they need and then get lined up. So players love it. So far, it's been pretty smooth. We haven't had any issues with, as far as connectivity during the game, guys getting stuff. Like it's been good so far. So. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, like once you dive into it and mess around, like it's pretty flexible. It probably can fit, whatever verbiage or wording that you use. And, the staff at GoRout was helpful. They sent some examples and, that you kind of have a jumping off point. You weren't starting from zero, from scratch. Kind of gave you some ideas and suggestions on how you can do things. And then from there, you can kind of put your own spin and find what works best for you. But no, it's pretty easy. Yeah, we're using it in practice right now. Right now we're about 50-50, so we still kind of dabble both. That way, if things change on the fly, we can, do that in the game still. We still have our signals and our base stuff. But yeah, we're splitting our time with it, and we use it primarily at the end of the week once it's kind of installed, like that second half of the week, and then that way we're able to rip through things pretty quick on the second half of our practice week. I mean, yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, it's been beneficial for us. I'm sure, as other programs, talk to other coaches and ask, get their opinion, they'll see that it can probably benefit them in some way. So I'm sure it'll, expand and, continue to grow from there. Being able to communicate with kids or players on the field is always, I think, going to be a benefit in some capacity. Depending, no matter what message it is that you're sending, we're sending in plays. But even if it was, if you were something that you wanted to alert that week or whatever, if you want to put that on your hot list where you can just, hey, alert this really quick and then you can go back to your play. I mean, it's another way to communicate. And so it's pretty nice. Yeah, a couple times. The first time was kind of just getting started. Like I said, with building the play script and figuring out exactly how to navigate that. Extremely supportive from there. You get updates, reminders every week to charge and when to turn on and things like that. And then, you guys, today helped us get rolling. So, we appreciate that for sure. I mean, really, the further you go in the season, the more important the games get and the bigger that advantage becomes if you're somebody who has it versus somebody that doesn't. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where if you're a program who, expects to play deep into the playoffs, you're going to want to have every advantage that you can. You're not going to want to leave something on the table. So we like it. One thing that maybe we're looking for is maybe like one more column. That would be great. But, we definitely are functioning pretty well with the columns that we have right now. So we like it. Right now we're text and we like that, but I can definitely see, we have a couple of two-way guys, some crossover guys. So that cuts down on the learning time for those guys whenever you're able to take a guy who maybe is on the other side of the ball and throw him in and he just has a picture. That cuts down a lot of the learning for him and you're able to utilize some of the guys that you have a little bit more efficiently. And the watch alone helps. We have a couple of guys who play DB that play receiver for us and some linebackers that play tight end. And the watch alone it's one of those things they have to learn because even if they still have to learn the play and the name. They don't have to learn the signal as well. So that's just one less thing that we're putting on their plate that's already, pretty full. Yeah, we use them on defense as well. And so it's been pretty good. I've worked with Coach Gelly. Once I kind of got, familiar with the program, I set him up and kind of gave him some suggestions on how he should maybe format his sheet. And they've been rolling with it as well. It also is nice when we do have the crossover guys, they just switch over and they're rolling. They're not having to switch watches or anything like that. So that part's been pretty seamless. I think initially, not really knowing what it was going to look like and the functionality and how it may work for our program was kind of what we may have been a little more hesitant about. But once we kind of dove in and, I think we did a demo, and once we got them and kind of got everything laid out, I mean, it's been pretty seamless. So I think, how easy it is probably the biggest shock for us, or biggest surprise, is that it's really not, it's not complicated. Once you get everything plugged in, it's pretty easy. You're just pressing buttons up there. The part, that I like as a guy who's calling some plays is, it kind of forces you to think in advance of things I'm going to want to get to on my during the game that may not necessarily be on my practice script for that week. And that way we go ahead and have those things, programmed in, and then we end up getting to those things a little bit quicker. So that's been nice from like a play calling standpoint. It kind of forces you into some forward thinking, but you can always add stuff, during the game too as well. But no, we like it. Absolutely. I mean, like I said earlier, it's an advantage for your team. You free up coaches, and it's pretty simple for your kids. So, I mean, those are all, big boxes to check when you get to a Friday. Having coaches be able to coach and players be able to play and play fast. That's always going to lead to success. This is our 6th game that we've used it, and, I think we've grown with it each game. We've leaned on it more and more. Kids have gotten more comfortable with it. Coaches have as well. So I'm sure, hopefully week 16, we're flying with it as well. So, no, we like it. We got 2 thumbs up.